PantheonAI presents Palantir's Blowout quarter, JPM slips, Presidio's big bet. Welcome to the PAI Morning Briefing, everyone. It's John, coming to you from PantheonAI on a Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. I hope you're ready to dive in, because the markets are definitely keeping us on our toes.
They certainly are, John. Good morning. It feels like one of those days where you can't look away for a second. Even when things seem quiet, there's always something bubbling just under the surface.
Exactly. So let's get a quick lay of the land. The major indexes are seeing a bit of a pullback today. The S&P 500 closed around 6293, which is down about 0.69%. The Dow is also down slightly, about 0.4%, sitting just over 44,000.
And the Nasdaq, which is always one to watch, took a bit of a bigger dip, didn't it? Down almost 0.83% to around 21,000. A little reminder that the tech rally can't go up forever without a few bumps. The Russell 2000 is also down about 0.4%.
Right, and that sentiment is trickling into crypto too. Bitcoin is trading around 112,000, but it's down nearly 2%. Ethereum actually took an even bigger hit, dropping over 4% to about 3,500.
So a sea of red, albeit a modest one. It really drives home that lesson about balancing risk, doesn't it? Even when the market gives you a little nudge in the wrong direction, it's all about the long-term strategy.
Couldn't agree more. So let's transition from the numbers to the stories driving them. One of the big themes we're seeing is this: tug of war between really strong fundamentals in some sectors, like tech and energy, and the volatility from everything else. Politics, regulations, you name it.
And a perfect example of that has to be Palantir. They've been lighting up the headlines. Their stock jumped, what was it, more than 7%?
That's right, a huge 7% jump. It came after a blowout quarter clearly fueled by this massive demand for AI and efficiency. They even lifted their full-year outlook, which shows some serious confidence.
But, and there's always a but in this market, that huge gain hasn't won everyone over. You've got skeptics doubling down, saying the valuation is just too high compared to traditional metrics. It's that classic debate, isn't it? Paying for the price today versus the potential for tomorrow.
It really is, and while tech is grabbing the spotlight, there are some fascinating moves happening elsewhere. Sarah, you were looking at the energy sector?
I was. In a really interesting move, Presidio Petroleum announced it's going public through a combination with EQV Ventures. They're positioning themselves as a dividend-yield company focused on optimizing mature oil and gas assets here in the U.S. It's a different kind of energy play that's getting a lot of attention.
A focus on efficiency and existing resources. I like that. Meanwhile, in the finance world, things are a bit more dramatic. JPMorgan and Bank of America both saw their stocks drop, and it seems to be tied to comments from President Trump.
Right, he confirmed he's planning an executive order targeting financial firms for what he called discriminatory practices. That kind of talk from the White House is bound to make investors nervous about what kind of regulatory shakeup might be coming.
It just forces you to ask that question. How much of the market is driven by fundamentals versus a single policy announcement? It feels like politics and finance are getting more tangled every year.
It's a bit ironic, you know. We're all here analyzing charts and metrics, and then a few words from a world leader can just change the entire game. It reminds me of that old joke, why did the economist bring a ladder to work?
I don't know why.
Because he heard the market was going through a correction and wanted a better look at the bottom. It's silly, but it really highlights that unpredictability we have to navigate.
That's a good one. And it's a perfect segue into a deeper look at these sectors. With tech, Palantir's success really reaffirms that AI isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's a critical driver of real-world efficiency. So even on a down day for the Nasdaq, the underlying story for innovative tech companies is still incredibly strong.
And shifting to energy, that Presidio Petroleum news is so telling. It shows this pivot towards optimizing what you already have, rather than just costly new exploration. It's a more measured, maybe even more sustainable approach that could offer investors a steadier dividend stream. It's a smart adaptation.
Definitely. Then you look at finance, and it feels like the sector is in the middle of an identity crisis. You have these political headwinds hitting giants like JPMorgan, while at the same time, they're all trying to modernize with things like blockchain and better cybersecurity. You have to wonder, could these short-term political pressures actually be the catalyst that forces them to innovate faster?
That's a fascinating thought. And of course, none of this happens in a bubble. When the U.S. markets twitch, the whole world feels it. A dip in the Nasdaq or a political statement about U.S. banks sends ripples through markets in Europe and Asia. It's all one interconnected web.
Absolutely. It's like a finely tuned ecosystem where everything from a silicon chip in California to a barrel of oil in Texas affects the bigger picture. The experts we follow seem to agree that while this short-term volatility is rattling, the big underlying trends, like AI and the push for efficiency, are here to stay.
And the interplay is what's so interesting. Tech innovations are revolutionizing finance and making energy more profitable. The lines between these sectors are blurring more and more. It's like an orchestra. Sometimes you get a sour note, but it's all part of this complex, evolving symphony.
Well said. So, to quickly recap the biggest stories for everyone. First, you've got Palantir, soaring on incredible earnings and a strong AI-driven outlook.
But you also have the counter-narrative, with multiple reports warning that its stock might be overvalued, so excitement tempered with caution.
Then, in energy, the big news is Presidio Petroleum going public, signaling a strategic shift in how traditional energy companies create value.
And finally, in finance, heavyweights JPMorgan and Bank of America are seeing their stocks drop after those politically charged comments about a new executive order. A real reminder of how politics can rock the boat.
So, what are the big takeaways from all this, Sarah?
Well, I think first, even on a modestly down day, the real stories are happening beneath the surface. Second, you can't ignore global interconnectivity. And third, it's crucial to look past the daily noise and focus on the long-term trends.
Exactly. Investing is as much an art as it is a science. The numbers give you a snapshot, but not the whole story. Every dip and every headline is just another chapter in a novel that's constantly being written.
I heard a good one the other day. Why did the trader bring a dictionary to the market? Because he wanted to learn how to capitalize. It's cheesy, but it speaks to how we're all constantly learning this language.
I like that. So let's leave our listeners with a few questions to think about. When a company like Palantir raises its outlook in volatile times, what does that say about long-term vision versus short-term noise? And as sectors blur, how should we rethink diversification?
And when politics rocks the market, do you see that as a risk to avoid or an opportunity to adjust? Lots to think about. We encourage you to chew on these ideas and even ask our AI copilot here at PantheonAI for more insights.
Well, that's our time for today. Thank you for joining us on the PAI Morning Briefing. Remember, PantheonAI is here to be your copilot, helping you navigate these complex markets.
We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, keep questioning, keep analyzing, and stay curious. Have a great day and happy investing. PantheonAI, your information copilot.
Because learning shouldn't feel like a full-time job. Take care and see you next time.